one thing I learned from that early days is that you learn from each other. There wasn't anyone smarter than the other. We each had strengths. We all had weaknesses.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers, fiercely local, fiercely loyal.
There's no such thing as a lone wolf entrepreneur anymore. You got to rely on other people. You need input from different people with different perspectives, different imaginations. And even when we, after we bought Rolling Hill out, there were 5 owners at that point. And we had monthly meetings and to decide hiring practices, who to hire, what to hire. We need more secretaries, need more office space. It was always a group thing. It wasn't no one individual mandated. It wasn't a top-down thing. It wasn't a pyramid-type structure. It was more of a horizontal structure of management and ownership. Mm-hmm. And that continued even up till the time I retired. And but that model doesn't work. Well, you can see how diverse and how much the expertise you need in different fields today. Business has become so much more dynamic.
Right.
One person doesn't have the,
right.
Unless you're an Elon Musk, I guess that's the only exception I can think of. He seems to be able to do everything at once.
Right. So if, what advice would you give a young person getting into the profession today, or business?
Learn everything you can from everybody you can. Because I think most of the creative ideas that all of us got was by observing what other people had experienced and learning from their experience, so it's I think it was a Brewer Alliance. It was really a band of brothers. Yeah. And after we bought Rolling Hill out, our idea that all the equity partners ought to be equal, a horizontal type structure. We had branch offices; they ought to all be equal, and then the employees ought to be categorized. You had helpers, assistants, and various, but it was always anything but individual effort. So I think that's one thing I learned from that early days is that you learn from each other. There wasn't anyone smarter than the other. We each had strengths. We all had weaknesses, and so, but we would have our partners meetings with the 5 of us and have an agenda, especially the quarterly one and the annual ones. And long-term planning was always one of the agenda items, always the last agenda. We never got to it. We never got to. We would have a two-day meeting or 3-day meeting. We never get to the bottom, which is long-term planning. So I guess you might say all of our growth was accidental or externally motivated.
BusinessJournalDaily.com 3 Minutes With is brought to you by Farmers National Bank.
Save, borrow, and invest with Farmers. Take heart knowing you're helping create a strong community. Mind your money at Farmers. Talk directly to local decision makers about your loans, investments, and insurance. Farmers, fiercely local, fiercely loyal.